hopefully you know this distinction, but we're not talking gender necessarily. Like we're not like every man and woman on earth possesses feminine and masculine energy, but they have such different roles. And I know this might sound interesting, but the divine feminine to me is so much more about sitting back in my chair. It's about sitting back, observing, taking note of all the things around me. And then when I activate masculine in my life, I say, okay, I've observed, I've gathered, I see. Now here's what I'm going to do with it.
Hello, prosperity seeker, and welcome to another episode of the Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez, and I am super, super excited. Oh God, I told her I was going to fangirl all over her, and I keep my promises. I'm gonna introduce you to our special guest star in just a minute. I am all about empowered feminine these days. There has just been this beautiful awakening, and that's completely different from woke society, but a beautiful uplifting and an awakening I have felt over the last several months. And I know so many others have felt it as well, but didn't really know what it was, didn't know what it meant or how to deal with it. And it's all about just really leading out the way that we as ambitious, God-centered or spiritually minded women are designed to do, to make an impact, to make a difference, to live the life that we are divinely designed to live, which includes luxury, which includes success without struggle. And I am gathering all of these ambitious, God-centered, beautifully feminine, powerful women and having conversations with them because I love to get their take. I love to get their flavor on that. And I've actually grown a challenge. We're doing a mini challenge here in the next couple of weeks, all about success without struggle. So if you're wanting to learn more about how to work in alliance with the masculine and lead out with your feminine and really have the impact that you desire to have without struggling your way to the next level, you're going to love the Success Without Struggle challenge that I am doing 100% free. You're going to go to prosperityapproach.com/challenge, get yourself registered for that so I can do some live coaching with you. You're going to get your very own success expert to help you implement what you're going to learn over these really, really powerful 3 days that we're going to have together, because it really is your time to reach the levels of success that you desire in your health, in your money, in your relationships, in your spirituality, without having to claw your way to it. Because ladies, the day of clawing is over. So with that said, now it's time for my favorite part. All right, I'm preaching it, sister.
I like the favorite part, but like, amen.
So I want to introduce you to a person who has had enormous impact in my life. She is absolutely extraordinary in every way. She embodies divine feminine, and she's going to talk about that. But she came into my life as the direct answer to a desperate prayer that I had been pleading for a long, long time. And in fact, I met Allie on my birthday, June 28th, 4 years ago. And she just swooped me up. And part of the feminine is sometimes energy comes out your eyes, but she was absolutely an earthbound angel sent to, I don't want to say save me, but really help me see who I truly was. And not many people, I think, have an opportunity to have somebody make such a profound impact in their life. And I am one of those blessed that had that experience. And she has just held and will always hold such a dear, special place in my heart. So Allie White, we get to spend some time with you. I ended up mentoring with her for a while, not nearly long enough though. We need to talk about that. But she was instrumental in helping me get to that next level and really see my divinity, because I had forgotten about it. So Allie, welcome to the Prosperity Approach, hon. Thank you for being here.
My gosh, like, thank you. I feel like I'm at the spa right now. Oh, yeah, this is a facial or a massage of the soul and the heart. Oh my gosh, thank you, Allyson. First of all, just to your community members, I absolutely want to anchor right from the start. You're with the real deal. If you're here hanging with Allyson, you're with somebody so rooted in truth, so rooted in a genuine representation of what's possible in this life. You're in one of the best corners of the world to be learning and to be lifting yourself up. So I'm beyond honored to be here. And I just love you
Wow.
so dearly,
Wow.
so dearly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Allie, tell us about you. What are you up to? Who do you work with? What do you teach? What are you doing these days?
What am I doing these days? So little Al over here, I don't call that Al, although it sometimes slips. We're two Allysons here, although we spell it different. So really my start, I mean, I'm a coach. So I'm a coach. I'm a life coach. I'm a women's empowerment coach. And I work primarily these days with coaches. So I'm kind of a coach's coach. How can I help you build an ethical, beautiful, anchored practice? But my journey really began 14 years ago, almost 15 years since I entered into a space where I watched women access power within themselves they kind of didn't know was there. So I began my journey as a doula and a childbirth educator, which is a professional labor coach, but it really morphed into coaching right away, right? Empowerment and life coaching. It shifted there immediately. And I've also been a photographer for almost 13 years. So my anniversary of that is coming up in September. And it's just a cool thing to see how those two vocations really married, because it's the study of humans. It's the study of what we're like under pressure. Because let's just be honest, picture day isn't exactly chill for most of us. It's a vulnerable thing, right? To be on that other side, to be viewed, to be witnessed, to be not only witnessed, but frozen in time. And then we have to kind of go look at it and be with ourselves. So as we look at this, coaching isn't that different, right? Coaching is, can we empower you to stand in front of who you really are and help you to take down the layers that aren't serving you and help you to learn how to make peace with exactly what's reflecting back in the mirror at you, because it's divine and it's glorious and it's perfectly made. So I love the marriage of those two career paths. And it's just been an incredible journey since. I'm also a mother and I'm a wife and I'm a Christian and I love God and I love empowering women. And I also believe in feminism. And I believe in, hey, girls need a place at the table, and not only a place, but a say, like, because let's be real, we catered this thing. So I think that it's important to really just stand in such united sisterhood right now and just love on one another. But that's a little of my journey. What I do today and what I really focus on is helping the woman from the trench to the high rise. Where are you at, Levy? How can we help you stand up? How can we help you just come into that peaceful place of I'm at home with me? And because I'm at home with me, I will express in my way possible for me and who I am, and in a natural feminine way, right? So what Allison's putting down here, baby, I'll pick that up all day long. I'm so here for this. And it's what has allowed me to build a business and build multiple very profitable businesses, quite frankly, off the script of, oh, if you want to sell, you have to say it exactly this way. My gosh, let me just tell you that if you want to bring prosperity into your life, you tap into the feminine and it just kind of naturally brings it to you. And scripts, I'm not going to say that I don't believe in a sales script. I think they're valuable, especially when you're learning, but it's one of my favorite ways to build true wealth in the world, not just green dollar wealth, but relationships and happiness and peace and moments. And as Allyson would say, as the other Allyson would say, I go by Allie, luxurious experiences, really luxuriating in the experience of being alive. I advocate for that all day long. So that's a lot of what I do. I do different groups. I have a subscription. I have several different doors that clients come through to spend time with me. And then I live in Idaho with my husband and children, and we're rock climbing and out hiking and hanging out. We're sort of all over the spectrum there of the things we enjoy. So there's a little about me.
Oh, I love it. And don't worry, because all of the links for you to be able to connect with Allie are in the show notes. So we're going to make sure that you get more of Allie, because I know you're going to want more of her. Before we started, I sent her this little GIF of Kermit the Frog muppeting around everywhere. And I'm like, I get to talk to you in 15 minutes. I was so excited.
You made me giggle out loud. I thought, yeah, I'm so here for that energy. I loved it.
Well, and what I have realized for me personally, and I really can only speak into my own experience, is that it is all about the experience now. Like it used to be about success, and it used to be about how many clients can I get and how much money can I make and how much difference can I make? And it was all this like getting, grabbing, desperate kind of energy that I was in. I was in complete masculine because that's what we're taught. And masculine energy definitely has its place to serve the feminine. And as I have gotten more acquainted with feminine energy and learning how to use it in very practical ways and just allow myself to expand with it, I've realized that no matter what is going on, if I'm having a rough go of it with a child, if I'm having heartbreaking experiences with my husband or anything with my clients or having like the greatest vacation ever, it is all about what I'm experiencing in the moment, which to me is like the ultimate in feminine energy, because feminine energy is about receiving, and to receive means to experience. And so that's what I am all about. And a lot of us are experiencing that struggle. We're experiencing the fear. We're experiencing the topsy-turvy of the world right now. So Allie, what I would ask you is, in that empowered feminine, how do you navigate through that in the empowered feminine?
I think that's such a good question. I think it's just highlighting what we're universally experiencing. And I think it's important to recognize that sort of no matter where you perceive other people are in their life, oh, well, they're really successful. Oh, they've totally made it. Oh, wow, they're really struggling. We're technically all facing the same challenges. So I think it's important to create a lot more unity as we discuss solutions to some of the situations we're really all facing. We're all kind of in a line facing the same demons right now. And I think some of those things are being ripped out of the present, right? So we have countless ways to be distracted right now, countless ways to remove ourselves from really engaging with the now. I think that's a huge thing that everyone universally can relate to, because of these really rad boxes that we carry around with us all day that give us so many resources and tools, but that, like technology is a beautiful thing, but it does shift us out of saying, I'm here and I'm here for this experience and for this reality that life has brought to me. So I love how you talk about that, Allyson, because to receive is to say, I'm in for what life is going to present to me. And I'm going to keep both my eyes open. And I'm going to stay here with both feet on the path and experience these sacred seconds. I've only got a few. And I think that's it. I mean, I think there is, not to play into any scarcity, but to recognize that there is a level of absolute respect required when it comes to observing our lives. We're not here forever. We're not here on this earth and in these moments always. And many of us know that life can shift so quickly. One day here, the next day gone. And so I think to access the divine feminine in terms of receiving and navigating these moments that maybe try to pull us out and tear us away, I think, oh gosh, this is kind of the deep work, right? Of coming back to the reality that we are divinely appointed to this moment in time. We are divinely appointed to these circumstances, to these individuals that we have connection to. And when we take that very seriously, and allow ourselves to find our purpose, not in all of the checklists like you talked about, right? Like where there are seasons in our growth, I think where the checklists matter because they're the fuel we know how to measure by. The fuel we know how to measure by is how full is my tank of things I've accomplished versus how full is my reservoir of I feel alive and so just connected to being here on earth and to being about my work and to finding the best ways I can serve the world. You start to appreciate that those are really the truly fine fuels that drive you forward. And so I just speaking to what you're saying, Allyson, about experience, my gosh, I think that the world is really loud. And I don't think we always know how to be safe and anchored in just slow, steady, beautiful, luxurious experiences. We want to go tweet about it or Instagram about it or share it with the world or like show everybody rather than just being. And I think the more levels you get up to, the more you realize we don't scroll. The higher levels you're at, you're not sitting constantly scrolling. You're living in being. You're not constantly thinking, how can I post this and share this? You're being in it. And there's such a frequency gift there. There's such a gift in the divine feminine of receiving the real moments in real time. Like I am here and I'm going to experience being alive. No questions asked. I think that's what I would say. In my own experience, I've learned to chase after, or to rather just harvest into who I am.
Absolutely. And in fact, I forget most of the time to tweet about something or to IG about something like, oh, this, I guess that would have been helpful, but okay.
Am I supposed to play the game like that? Yeah, I play the game like
yeah, yes, yeah. And that's, and you hit the nail right on the head, Allie. I played the game my way, and I'm all about that. It's success on your terms. It's life on your terms, which is not this like foot stomping, demanding, finger pointing kind of a way. But it is like understanding how much tremendous influence you have over your circumstances and over what you get to experience from moment to moment. But we tend to pit feminine against masculine, and they're designed to work together. So, and you are like highly ambitious, highly motivated. You are just like constantly, well, I'm not going to say constantly on the go, but like you've always got something in the works. You're always in creation, which is so beautiful. So what have you done to be able to like lead with the feminine, but also like make the masculine part of it? Because if we're only in feminine, then we're playing with the fairies and we're just meditating and not doing nothing. And, you know,
if I'm there too long, I start to like twitch. I'm like, okay, whoa, I don't like, so I think valuing and appreciating that we each come with different strengths, right? So if we look at life as, hey, it takes a tribe to do all this. If you're coming to Allie and you're saying, Allie, this is what I would look to you to activate within me. I've learned to appreciate experts for the various things they can activate within us. So one of the things I'm going to model, one of the things that I'm going to be more of an expert in than other strengths that other people might possess is now let's do something about it. So I think finding that for me, the natural channel of bringing in the necessary form of masculine energy to what I'm creating. And just again, disclaimer, if you're here, hopefully you know this distinction, but we're not talking gender necessarily. Like we're not like every man and woman on earth possesses feminine and masculine energy, but they have such different roles. And I know this might sound interesting, but the divine feminine to me is so much more about sitting back in my chair. It's about sitting back, observing, taking note of all the things around me. And then when I activate masculine in my life, I say, okay, I've observed, I've gathered, I see. Now here's what I'm going to do with it. That masculine for me is putting the philosophy, the fairy moments, which I live for. I make meaning, I can make meaning out of almost anything, right? Like give me an object on my desk. I'll give you like a beautiful metaphor, how it has meaning in our life. And it can be so big. But I mean, I can make meaning out of those moments, but it's that activation of I'm now going to honor this inspiration with activation. I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to take this matter unorganized and create. And women are perfect at creating. We're amazing at creating. We are exactly divinely designed to create and do something with what we've got. So I think that for me is it creates that completion energy. That's what we're seeking more than anything. Because it's especially as a creative, and I'm sure you get this, Allyson, how many ideas can we come up with? That's not really the issue. It's not like, come up with a viable good idea. If anything, we overcorrect there. It's like, okay, maybe we need to shut down like 40 of those, work on these 4.
Well, yeah. And then I forget this thing called time. And like, it needs time. So I'm like, I have this great idea. And then my tech team is like, yeah, so that's going to take like 2 weeks. I'm like, how about in 3 minutes? Cause this is really great. It's a really great idea. And
yeah, like, this is so good. It has to happen like yesterday.
Yeah. Like, oh, I forgot this thing called time that is really for our benefit, for sure. For sure.
Oh, baby. It refines a lot of our good, like quick fire ideas. I find that time has helped me get far better things out the door than I would have liked sometimes. So I'm here for that. I'm here for it. Yeah. Slowing us down. But I think that masculine is about activation. At the end of the day, it's let's do something with this brilliant thing, all these brilliant things we've harvested.
I love your words to describe that the masculine is about activation. It absolutely is. And I talk to people who are like, well, I meditate all the time, but they're not making any money. They haven't moved ahead on any of their ideas. They're doing things that don't actually make a difference. And I'm like, but if you're meditating all the time, then with all due respect and love, you're not doing it right, because the meditation will always end in inspired action. You will always and sometimes the inspired action doesn't make sense in the moment, but as you follow it, like it will lead you to do something so that it can support the vision.
That's the point. I heard a joke years ago from my uncle about this man who pled to God for years. Dear God, help me win the lottery. Please help me win the lottery. Please help me win the lottery. It was his one prayer of his entire life. And towards the end of his life, he was starting to get bitter. And he's like, you know what, God, this is the only thing I've ever asked for. Why haven't you let me win the lottery? He was just like, I devoted all of my prayers to just this one thing. And I promised you I would even do good with it. And I would help the world. And finally, he heard this really loud whisper from God. And he said, buy a ticket. Right? Like, oh, I'm required to take this beautiful thing that has taken seed in me and that I've had vision for. And then the way that we honor the full cycle of creation is putting something in motion. What actions now do I get to take? How do I get to move forward? And as women, my gosh, we're beautiful to watch move. I think all creatures are. But when you think about how we move and how we step into action, when you watch a woman willingly express her genius, it's holy. That's the word it's like watching what somebody was built for, what they were designed for. You're watching their divine blueprint come alive. And I think it's important to protect that and to drive forward to experience that. Like that's, I think, the experience that our heavenly family and our divine creator wants us to experience. Go see what you were made for. Express it fully. And especially as women, it's a big thing.
It's huge. It's huge. And I think too long we're trying to do it like a man. So we're like these men masquerading as women. And so we're pushy or we're in your face or we're aggressive. And then I talk to a lot of women who are in much softer expressions of energy and much more observant in their approach, which is so beautiful. But then they're either waiting for permission or there's not space for them because they're not loud and obnoxious like other people are. And what I realized was I get to express in the way that I'm built to express. Like I live in like my family of origin are very witty. They're sarcastic. They're quick off the uptake. They're funny. And I'm not like they are. Like some people are like, you're hilarious, Allyson. I'm like, well, you haven't met my brother yet. He's hysterical. But like my whole life, I'm like, why can't I be sarcastic like that? And then I realized, why do I want to be sarcastic? I'm not wired to be sarcastic or to be unkind. And that is so powerful in and of itself. And when I finally gave myself permission to express the way I'm designed, rather than waiting for somebody else to tell me it was okay, everything changed.
Oh, well, and let's just highlight what doors a woman opens for others. Like if we're talking about the spirit of service, and that really, because for me, my life shift has gone through so many phases of what I was really going after, right? And I know we talked about this just a little bit before the call, but the more you evolve, the more you realize that's not what I'm chasing. What I'm really chasing is this. And what I'm chasing is absolutely aligned, anchored, heart-centered experiences. It's not bottom lines. It's not top shelf, like I need all the top shelf things and then I'll be okay. That comes, like, I'm just going to say it comes. But I think what we do when we say, I'm willing to go express myself so fully. I just want you to picture, like, if you've ever seen an image of almost like, I have some really cool, kind of very funky, like new age images of women with just arms wide open. And there's all this color radiating off of them. And it's just this representation of, I think, a woman completely unleashed, fully expressed. What we do is then we model possibility, which so many of us are looking for, because I think in the world, we're not short on women who are capable or willing, but I do think we are short on examples. I don't think we have tons of reference. I don't think we have a lot of schema. It's a word you could use if you're familiar with what that is, or again, just reference or examples of, oh, and now I can see that being modeled. So I have permission to do it that way. Absolutely. Okay, good to know. Which is why the more of us that stand up, like the more of us will follow, right? Like this is cyclical, trying to create some momentum here.
Yeah.
And so advocating for that.
And that was what I was bumping up against all the time, is that I'm looking for a female business coach and all she knew was masculine, and like, we're doing it and we're in hustle and we do everything we can. We lay it out on the table. And I'm like, so right now I'm tired just from this conversation. And I've been deep breathing myself through this whole thing because I'm in absolute overwhelm. And I just thought, do I have to do it that way? I mean, we as women and men too have proven that you can be enormously successful fully in masculine. And yet it's not filling us up as women. I think for men, certainly to let their empowered masculine lead, that's wonderful. I think it can be served a higher purpose when you let the vision lead. But really highly enlightened men definitely will let their feminine lead. And then they just have really powerful masculine structures to support. But like it gets to look different. I talk to my clients and I'm like, this is how you would start your day in a morning routine and connecting with meditation and visualization. And like, this is what I do. And like 90% of them are like, and now I got more things I have to do. And I'm so tired. And I'm like, oh, honey, so you missed the whole point. You missed the whole point. Like it gets to look different. It gets to look different. And I spoke with a dear friend who leads in her masculine. And she said, we're taught to like, fill our cup, right? So we do that with self-love and self-care. We fill our cup so that we can then serve others. And then she's like, no. You don't fill your cup so that you can empty it for others. You fill your cup so it's overflowing for you. And then you serve from the overflow. And I'm like, oh yes, I like that so much better. And I get to like, there are things in business and in relationships and in health. There are things we must do to get the result that we desire. But we get to do them in a way that serves us. Like, which feels fun, what feels light, what feels easy to pick up in this moment. Like, that's where I go to so I can still stay in that feminine.